The street was loud and crowded, filled with honking cars, people rushing by, and the smell of hot food in the air. In the middle of the chaos, a small food cart stood quietly on the corner. An older man worked behind it, moving slowly but carefully. His clothes were simple: an old jacket, worn shoes, and a hat pulled low over his gray hair. He didn't speak much, just nodded politely to customers as he handed out warm sandwiches wrapped in foil. Across the street, a boy named Jaden stood with his hands in his pockets. He was 16, skinny, and looked like he hadn't eaten in a while. His eyes were sharp but tired, filled with something heavier than hunger: anger. At the world, at life, at everything. His stomach growled as he watched the cart. The smell of food made his mouth water, but he didn't have a single dollar to his name. Jaden waited for the right moment. He watched closely as the old man turned to open a cooler behind the cart. His hands were shaking a little, moving slow, like they carried more than just weight. Without thinking, Jaden crossed the street fast, head down, eyes locked on the sandwiches stacked neatly at the edge of the cart. 1 step, 2 steps, he reached out, snatched 2 sandwiches, and ran. The old man turned just in time to see Jaden's back as he disappeared into the crowd. His eyes followed the boy, but he didn't yell, he didn't chase, he just stood there, blinking slowly, as if this had happened before, and he knew how it would end. Jaden ran down the block, heart pounding in his chest. He ducked into a narrow alley between 2 buildings, breathing hard. He ripped open the foil and ate fast, barely chewing. His hands were shaking, but not from fear, from hunger. When he finally looked up, he waited for sirens or angry shouting, but nothing came. No one was looking for him. Jaden leaned against the wall, confused. Why hadn't the old man come after him? Why didn't he call the police, or at least shout? For the first time that day, Jaden felt full, but deep in his chest, something else stirred. A strange feeling he didn't expect: guilt. The next day, Jaden came back. He told himself it was just for the food. His stomach was empty again, and he knew the sandwiches were good. Easy to grab, easy to run. He stood behind a bus stop across the street, hood pulled up over his head. His eyes followed the old man's every move. The vendor was back at the cart, just like before, but now that Jaden looked closer, he noticed something different. The old man limped slightly, favoring his right leg. Every step seemed slow, careful. His face looked tired, worn not just from age, but like he was carrying some heavy sadness. He didn't talk much to the customers. He just handed them food, nodded, and went back to work. Jaden felt something in his chest, that guilt again, but he pushed it down. He'll be fine, Jaden told himself. He probably makes enough money. He won't even notice 1 or 2 sandwiches missing. When the vendor turned his back again, Jaden moved. He crept up to the cart, just like before. But this time, as he reached out, his foot hit something. Clink. A small worn-out bag had been leaning against the side of the cart. Jaden had kicked it by accident. It tipped over, and something metal spilled out onto the pavement. He froze. The vendor turned quickly, alarm in his eyes. Jaden looked down at the sidewalk, and what he saw made him stop cold. Not money, not food, but something far more unexpected. Medals. Military medals, shiny, old, and heavy with meaning. The medals clattered against the concrete, catching the sunlight as they rolled across the ground. Jaden froze, staring down at them. His hands hung in the air, the stolen sandwich forgotten. There were at least 5 medals, some gold, some silver. One had a star in the center, another had stripes of red, white, and blue. They looked old, but polished, like someone still cared for them. Next to the medals was a small plastic folder that had fallen out too. Jaden glanced around, then picked it up. Inside were photos, black and white, some faded. One showed the vendor, much younger, in a crisp military uniform. He was standing with a group of soldiers. They looked proud, like brothers. Another photo showed a woman holding a baby. On the back it said, "Homecoming, 1989. At the bottom of the bag, folded neatly, was a flag. and a small note, yellowed with time. Jaden read the words slowly. For bravery in service, never forgotten. He couldn't move, his heart beat faster, but not from fear this time. He looked up, the old man was standing there watching him. But his face wasn't angry, it was calm, maybe even tired. Jaden bent down, picked up the medals carefully, and placed them back in the bag. He didn't say anything. The vendor gave a small nod, like he understood everything, without needing a single word. Jaden backed away, then turned and ran, not because he was scared, but because he didn't know what else to do. His thoughts were spinning. That man was a soldier, a hero. He wasn't just some old food cart guy, he had fought for his country, he had lost something, maybe everything, and Jaden had stolen from him. Something inside Jaden shifted. For the first time in a long time, he didn't feel like the angry one, he felt small, and ashamed. Jaden didn't go back the next day, or the day after, but the old man and his medals stayed in his mind. He remembered being little, running around the living room with a toy helmet on, yelling, "I'm a soldier." His dad used to laugh and salute him, but that was before his dad left, before the yelling, before the silence, before the empty seat at dinner. Now it was just Jaden and his mom. She worked 2 jobs, came home late, and barely smiled anymore. Some nights, they ate ramen noodles, some nights, they didn't eat at all. Jaden had stopped dreaming of being a soldier, he had stopped dreaming about anything. The world had taken too much from him, and all that was left was anger. But the vendor, there was something different about him. Word around the street was that he never turned people away, even the ones who couldn't pay. He'd just hand over a sandwich and say, "Eat." Someone once asked why he didn't call the cops on thieves. The old man just said, "If they steal, they must really need it." People whispered he had lost a son in the war, that he started the cart afterward, not for money, but for purpose. Jaden thought about the medals, the photos, the folded flag. The man had seen things, lost things, maybe more than Jaden could even imagine, and still he gave. Jaden didn't know why, but he felt like that mattered, like it meant something. Like maybe, the world hadn't taken everything from him, just yet. Jaden couldn't sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the medals, the photos, the look on the old man's face. By morning, he had made up his mind. He didn't want to steal again, not from him. Not from someone who had already lost so much. So Jaden went back, but this time he didn't hide. The vendor was setting up his cart like always. Slowly, carefully. Jaden walked up, nervous, hands shoved deep in his hoodie pocket. "I'm not here to take anything," he said quietly, "but I was wondering if I could help, clean up or something, just for a sandwich." The old man looked at him for a long time, then without a word, he stepped aside and pointed to a crate that needed lifting. That's how it started. Jaden came back the next day, then the next. He wiped tables, threw out trash, carried water jugs, and scrubbed the cart clean. He didn't complain. The vendor didn't say much at first, but slowly, that changed. He started talking soft, short stories, about the army, about discipline, about how things used to be. One afternoon, while Jaden was wiping down the counter, the old man pulled something from his bag. It was a photo, faded but clear, a young soldier standing proudly in uniform. "This was my son," he said. His voice was almost a whisper. Jaden stared. The face in the photo looked so familiar. The eyes, the hair, even the slight smirk, it looked like him. Jaden couldn't speak. His mouth opened, but no words came out. The old man saw his shock, but didn't say anything else. He just looked out at the street, eyes far away. That night, Jaden told his mom everything. About the stolen sandwiches, the medals, the photo, and how he saw himself in that soldier. His mom listened quietly. When he was done, she wiped her eyes. "Maybe," she said softly, "you were meant to meet him." The next morning, Jaden asked his mom to come with him. She didn't ask too many questions, she just nodded and followed. When they reached the food cart, the vendor was already there, setting up like always. Jaden waved as they walked up. "I brought my mom," he said quietly. The old man turned and froze. His eyes locked on her face. For a long time he didn't say anything, he just stared, like he was seeing a ghost. Jaden's mom looked just as stunned. "Mr. Carter," she whispered, his voice cracked. "Monica." Jaden looked between them, confused. You knew my mom?" she asked softly. The old man nodded slowly. "We were engaged, long ago, before the war. She left a letter, said she had to go, and I never heard from her again." Jaden's mom's eyes filled with tears. "She never stopped loving you. She thought you'd died overseas. She didn't know how to reach you." The vendor's hands trembled. "Your mother's name was Evelyn, right?" She nodded. "She passed 10 years ago." The vendor swallowed hard, then looked at Jaden. "That means..." Jaden blinked. "What?" You're my grandson." Silence fell between them, heavy and unreal. Jaden felt the ground shift beneath him. His chest tightened, but not in fear, in something else, something warm, strange, and deep. Family. The man he had stolen from, the man he had grown to respect, was his own blood. They stood there quietly, letting it all sink in. Jaden had come looking for food, but he had found something far bigger. Life changed after that day. Jaden no longer came to the food cart to steal, he came to work. Every morning, he met the vendor, his grandfather, at the same corner, helping set up the cart, carrying supplies, and greeting customers. The old man, Mr. Carter, taught Jaden everything he knew. How to slice vegetables just right, how to make a perfect grilled sandwich, but more than cooking, he taught him things Jaden had never learned from anyone else: discipline, patience, respect, and pride. He didn't yell or scold, he taught through action, through quiet wisdom, and through trust. Jaden began to change. He started getting up early, he smiled more. He helped his mom at home, and one day, he did something that surprised, even himself. He re-enrolled in school. Mr. Carter didn't say much, but the proud look in his eyes said everything. Jaden started dreaming again. Maybe about the military. Maybe about helping kids like him. Maybe even about running his own food cart someday. He was no longer just the angry kid who stole a sandwich. He was a grandson, a student, and something more. He was a young man with a future. One afternoon, as the sun dipped low over the city, Jaden stood behind the food cart wearing one of Mr. Carter's old jackets. It was too big, but it made him feel strong. A small boy walked up, eyes wide, hands empty. Jaden saw the hunger in his face, the same look he once had. Without a word, Jaden handed him a sandwich. The boy blinked. "But I don't have money." Jaden smiled. "It's okay, eat." The boy took it and ran off, just like Jaden once had. The narrator's voice returns, calm and warm. Sometimes, a single act of kindness can change a life. When we lead with compassion instead of judgment, we open the door to healing, to hope, and to family we never knew we had.